John Rosen in the morning. WRJN.
Those are the Racine Kilties, always affiliated with the 4th of July parade in Racine. Carol Gianforte, Jim Mercier here. Last month we talked about the 4th of July parade, part 1. Today a little more history of the 4th of July parade. Thank you guys for coming in. Do appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, Don. Yeah, we enjoy being here, talking about our pleasant memories of growing up in Racine during the 50s and 60s. Now, last month, if you remember, we talked about July 3rd, which included the carnival, the Doll Buggy Parade, the Drum and Bugle Corps competition. Today it's going to be strictly about the parade. And the parade was just as great as we remember it as kids. Right, Carol?
We found that out for sure, Jim.
Yeah.
2 years ago when we did an in-person program at the Golden Rondelle, it was called Summer in the City, and it had 4 parts like Kittyland, and it had the parade. And we saw from Gene Arnold, which we'll talk about later, many, many pictures of our drum and bugle corps and the floats.
The floats, yeah.
And we found out we are not exaggerating as baby boomers when we say this was the heyday of these beautiful musical groups and the floats.
Yep.
But coming over here today, I was thinking that of us 3 sitting here in the studio, I have never been in a parade. Jim, I know you have been in many parades.
We got to jam you in the rumble seat next time.
Just so I can say I've been in one.
We'll get Lou Regatti's classic car.
Yeah,
We'll stick
yeah.
you in the, we'll shoehorn you into the rumble seat.
And we know that Don was just in
Yep.
the parade,
Yep.
Don. So tell us what it's like to be in a parade.
Well, first of all, it's I've been in a million parades, but it's nice when you're traveling. Everybody yelling at you and throwing you stuff. I got American flag. I got a bag full of bacon from the Main Street Bakery.
You did?
Yeah, this lady
No
came out here.
kidding.
It's from the Main. It could be a
Oh,
bag
neat.
full of bacon.
You have so many fans.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don, let's face it.
Throwing bacon at me. Ladies throwing their underwear. It was a.
My
It was like a Tom Jones
You're
concert.
just a star. I can
No
see.
tomatoes, though, right?
No.
No,
It's
okay.
very nice. We're in a classic car. It's not as comfortable as being in a brand new car.
Yeah,
but
of course.
But it
it's
looked good.
It's a good looking car. It was very nice. And Lou Regani is very nice to let us use his car. And it's nice. You see all these people on the parade route. You see people come running up to the car, and I haven't seen them in years.
very neat.
Yeah, it is. It's very nice.
Yeah.
We were behind the Ghostbusters car.
Oh, okay.
And I heard the same Ghostbusters theme for 2 hours.
Still thinking.
But they were good. They had the whole, the packs on the back and everything. They had the Ecto car, and they had all this stuff. It was
Sure.
really good.
Yeah.
Well, this year we missed it because of the rain. How was it for you?
What are you,
Did
the Wicked Witch? You're going to melt in the rain? Come on.
So you weren't in a convertible, so you didn't get wet.
Well, we had the window down. And the
You did get
it was,
wet.
well, my arm got wet sticking out the window, but big deal. I mean, it's a little water.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it
Well,
was
good.
good.
Well, when you're a star, you got to show up. And
No
you
air,
did.
no air conditioning in the car, though.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
So it was a little
muggy,
warm.
wet. Yeah.
It was nice. I'm not complaining. It was very nice. And
Well,
Lou
maybe-
Regatti's car was nice.
Maybe if we have time we're toward the end of our program, you can regale us again on how once you were the last person in a parade.
Oh, that's when I was 9 years old.
Yeah, well, we might get to hear that wonderful story once more.
Yeah,
So
but-
I'll have to just adjust to the fact that I'm the one that's never been in one.
You were never a beauty queen at one time?
No.
No.
That
You were in a
didn't-
parade, Jim?
Well,
Yes, you're going to
yeah,
hear
you
all
Scout
about
Corps.
it.
Yeah.
Drum and Bugle Corps.
Uh-huh. Well, now this 4th of July parade that we remember from the 50s and 60s, really a heyday in Racine's history. We talked last month, when we talked about July 3rd, especially in those events. But, Jim, I think give us another little refresher
Okay,
on the festivities and how it started.
Sure. Back in 1931, there was intense labor strife between labor and industry in Racine. Enter Ray Spencer, the retired president of Western Printing. He asked for harmony when campaigning for mayor. When he was elected, he immediately began working on a community project that both labor and industry could work on together, and he was successful. And that's how the Goodwill celebration really began. But a few interesting facts about it. First of all, we never missed a parade since 1937. Came close during COVID.
No, they still had like 3-4 units
That's
in the
right.
parade. Yeah,
That's why they can still say that.
And that's almost 90 years now.
That's right.
I did the math.
Yeah. Oh, you did? Okay. In your head?
No.
Okay. Let's see. We were told that the parade in the 50s and 60s was probably one of the best, if not the best, in the entire Midwest. Also, it was never held on a Sunday. And during the 40s, the earlier parades, it actually went from south to north. Just the opposite for today. So,
I've been thinking about that
yeah,
and what a change.
yeah.
I mean, if we now had to watch the parade in the opposite direction,
Yeah.
I think we'd be extremely confused.
we
Oh
get
my
dizzy.
gosh. We would.
People
Yeah.
would be passing out. Ambulances
Yeah.
along
Yeah.
the route. The emergency rooms, trauma rooms would be filled with people.
We wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, a few lawsuits here and there.
Couldn't
Yeah.
We are
handle it.
yeah, the parade must go.
Cats will be sleeping with dogs, and all type of strange things will be going on.
You know, I shouldn't take the time, but I've seen with friends, after all the years of thinking that when Lake Avenue was one way, Lake Avenue, now it's two way. And I feel like I'm taking my life in my hands when I drive the wrong way. So conditioned.
Just stay on the right side. You won't have a problem.
That's what I do.
Stay on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Well, the excitement, we can all relate to the excitement before we really go to the music and the floats and more minor things, but important of the parade. But the excitement, we touched on that last month too. Now, I find myself in memories thinking of the night before, the July 3rd, waking up that morning and at the parade with hot weather. Loved it as a kid. Bright blue sky, hard to sleep the night before, trying to get a breeze. But in talking this over, Jim, I guess you had the experience.
Oh, yeah.
Rain, wind.
Yeah. Yeah. But this goes back, 60 years or so.
You survived, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, like Don said, we're not going to melt.
Yeah. Oh. And then,
What a world! What a world!
and then, would someone understand this? Where to sit? Now, this is a conversation and a plan that influences every single family. Do you sit on the east side? Is that too shady? Do you sit on the west side? Is that too sunny? Do you sit near a tree, under a tree? Do you take how many chairs today? But in the past, you and I discovered, Jim, lightweight chairs are a modern invention. We took blankets pretty much to the parade.
Sure. Yeah.
And we can see in photos, yes, the crowds were really, really thick, but a lot of people actually stood. The pictures are people's, and the men in white shirts and pants,
Yeah.
some in ties,
Hats.
fedora
yeah.
hats.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Yep, that's
so
right.
it was a big thing about where to sit, how to soon to get there. That's another thing. I guess today now, it's a 5 a.m.
5
beginning
a.m.
where you can
Right,
save. But
right.
your dad, when would your dad
Yeah,
go?
he was. He always reserved a little spot by High in Maine. My mother would drop him off at 5 in the morning.
At
and,
5, okay.
Yeah, all he had was a blanket which he put on the curb. So that's where my sister and I and him sat, just on the blanket.
We live on the parade route.
Yeah,
And we get up at about 4:30. We line up the chairs on our front lawn
Okay.
with the rope. And then exactly at 5, we move them out to reserve our property out there. But I've seen people set up at 4:45, and the cops come by and say, move. They can't make any exceptions because then everyone's going to
that's
do it.
true.
Right.
That's
Move,
true.
move, move.
Yeah.
And-
Right.
But we always reserve it for our relatives and friends who want to sit in our property.
Sure.
Yeah, you
Use our
really-
bathroom, eat us out of house and home, things like that.
You really live in a great location.
Oh, yeah. You
you
like that
feel-
on the 4th of July, huh? Then you got to put up with the fireworks
Yeah.
traffic at night and where you can't move, loud noises. Oh, it's wonderful living on Main Street.
Oh, well, some of the features that we remember that we know music and floats are primary in our memories. But we would start out with officials and dignitaries. And you and I, Jim, both recollected Senator William Proxmire.
Oh, yeah. He was always in it.
He was well elected over and over.
And he always had that sandwich board with his name on it.
Yes, right.
I have a picture of him at the Milwaukee Zoo, and my daughter was just like a few months old, and he took a picture holding her. I have it on my phone. But he always had that sandwich board, Senator William Proxmire, and he walked around
That's
with it.
right. That's right.
Well, I think most of us were pretty proud of him and his
Oh, yeah.
Golden Fleece Award.
Oh, he'd be giving out 20, 30 a day in Washington now. He wouldn't have to.
He was ready to embarrass anyone and started something really
I
neat.
liked him. He was a good
Yeah.
senator.
I think we did.
Yeah. Alan Gifford was another fixture. He was a parade marshal on a horse for many, many years. He had his flag with him, a large flag. He's the guy who owned Progressive Dairy. But there were a lot of horses in that parade. I remember because we had to watch where we stepped when we were marching. You know, the Meisterbrow Brewery in Chicago brought some Clydesdales at one time. It wasn't Anheuser-Busch. It was actually the small brewery in Chicago, the Meisterbrow. Miller eventually bought them out, but they had their Clydesdales there for at least one time.
Another thing, Jim, we always looked for the beauty queens.
Oh, yes, yes.
And Miss Goodwill, because we'll talk more, that was the organizer of
Yep.
the festivities.
Yep.
But I don't know if we ever had Alice in Dairyland, but we had
Yeah.
beauty queens, including now your sister Kathy.
Oh, yes. Back in 65, she was on a float. Miss Kraut Festival.
How neat.
Sauerkraut Festival.
Only in the Midwest.
That's right. Yeah. And I remember her practicing that wave. You know what I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about? Yeah, that's it, Don.
The
You
Miss
do it very
America
well.
wave.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Then, of course, we had Don Hudson, the car dealer, who would donate his convertibles for the guests. You know, they had the polished chrome, the pastel colors like salmon and aqua. They were huge cars with those humongous fins. Maybe DeSoto or Cadillacs or Lincolns, but they were very, very prominent.
And we remember talking about the big cars at some of our in-person presentations, like for the outdoor.
Oh, yes.
With the big trunks.
Yeah.
Perfect for hiding people for the
Sneaking
outdoor.
into the outdoor, right. Can't do that nowadays.
The man on stilts,
Yep.
wondering how can he do this and don't let him fall.
Yeah, for 2.5 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clowns, loved the clowns. Then we had the unicycle man, and we
Yes.
had the man on the high wheeler who you knew, Jim, I think.
That was Jim Feeney. He
And
did
he
that
did that
for
for
many,
years?
many years.
We'd
Sure.
look for these parts of the parade.
Correct.
And then I was always looking at those baton twirlers because I had a baton. I could hardly twirl the thing.
I can twirl a baton, but I can't throw it up in the air 20 stories and catch it.
Yeah.
While you're still in beat and do
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Yes,
I
right.
can
Absolutely.
twirl
Right.
the baton, though, but I can't catch
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
I know. So, you know, suspense as you watch these talented
Yep.
girls. What's it going to turn out?
You got a
And then
balloon story, right?
I do have a balloon story.
Okay.
You know, here I am, 77, still remembering this like it was yesterday.
Most women don't tell their age, Carol.
Oh,
We don't know if that's
most
her real
women,
age.
do they lie
That's
about
right.
their age? I
Yeah.
don't think
We
anymore.
got to cut her open and count the rings to be sure.
Cruel. Whoa. Well, anyway, at the parade, I got, when I was maybe like, let's say 7, I got an unusually beautiful balloon. I knew it. It was rare. It had some silver on it, and unusual in that today there are balloons everywhere. But it really wasn't so many, many years ago. They were so special. Well, guys, I had to survive this. About 4 or 5 in the afternoon, I was in my parents'
Oh, no, don't tell me.
It's coming.
Oh.
It's coming. I let it go. And there it went. And at first you think, I can catch it. and in a second, it's gone. I was so sad about that balloon. I still remember it.
And poor schnook who's walking in Delaware down the street got hit on the head with your balloon while he was walking.
The most beautiful balloon in the world. It went away.
I feel little Carol's balloon.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I know. I had to survive, but that does bring us to the major bands, the music.
The music.
Now,
right.
My dad was in the Racine band, which was called the Park Board Band at the time.
Yeah.
And I went to so many band concerts at the zoo on Sunday afternoons, and people were really, I saw your dad. Mm-hmm. And that was pretty exciting. That the Park Board Band at the time, they had more of the military is kind of a maybe too strict to describe it. But John T. Opfercook was the director for many years, a highly esteemed director, teacher, musician in Racine.
Mm-hmm.
He wore a off-white uniform, but he had this band, Crisp. The uniforms were the bright red wool, highly detailed, caps, black shoes, and like at the concert, you could not tap your foot. You had to sit in a certain posture. So when I think of the Park Board Band and my dad, Red and Crisp, the high school bands, which were minus Case and not built yet.
Yeah.
And then when we think of who was in purple, the Racine Elks.
Racine Elks.
Beautiful purple uniforms.
Yep.
So always known.
Yep, that was a band, not a drum corps.
Right.
But,
Now, Jim, you were in the drum corps.
Racine Scout Corps.
So tell us all about that. Great
Little Jimmy in the band.
Hey.
We had little Carol losing her balloon. Now little Jimmy's in the band.
My turn now, yeah. Well, in the parade, we had a number of Racine Drum and Bugle Corps marching. The Boys of 76, of course, the Kilties, who we all know, Kilty Cadets, which was really a feeder corps for the Kilties, Racine Scout Corps and their feeder corps, the Junior Scouts, the Ambassadors, New Dawn, New Day, and a few more. We also had many corps from outside the Racine area, and they were here because of the competition on July 3rd, the night before. So what they did, they spent the night here, whether it was in private homes or schools, school gyms or dormitories, but they all marched in the 4th of July parade. Some of the well-known corps at the time were the Chicago Cavaliers, the Norwood Park Imperials, Skokie Indians, the Madison Scouts, Casper Troopers, Cedarburg Thunderbolts, St. Matthias Cadets, even the Kenosha Shoreliners, and so many more. But we had a ton of drum and bugle corps back in the parade at that time. Now, when I was in the Corps, we marched in all kind of weather, Don. Hot, cold and windy, rain, you name it.
Snow.
I remember that. But,
Blizzards, ice storms.
It was a long season.
Right, yeah. Bugles could take some rest periods because they had to rest their lips, but the drummers had to keep playing.
And you were the drummer.
Yes, for a while.
I was telling Jim and Carol, I'd like to be that guy in the Kilties, just to stick with the tennis ball at the end. I could do that. I can march with that. That way, the guy doesn't have to play an instrument, doesn't have to worry about the music. He just has to
just be part of the show.
Just carry that stick with the tennis ball at the end of it. That's pretty good.
And look pretty. You're right.
Okay, we left off. Little Jimmy was in the parade with his, what corps was that? The
Racine Scout Corps.
The Scout Corps in the parade. By the way, just for the heck of it, what'd you do when you weren't in the parade? The Scout Corps.
Studied.
We
rub two sticks together, try to start a fire. What'd you do?
Well, the Scouts.
We were called the Boy Scouts, but we had really nothing to do with the Boy Scouts. It was just for the Scout Corps, and that was it. Officially, we had ties with the Boy Scouts, but we never went to Boy Scout meetings or anything like that.
I was in the Explorers, which is the Boy Scout.
Yeah.
But we were at the radio station. There was the Explorer post at the radio station. We didn't do anything.
Yeah.
We just showed up, played records, and played with the equipment. And
have fun.
We got our Explorer badges and everything.
Yeah,
we didn't do anything. They said, well, don't you go to meetings and learn how to, folklore and all that? We don't do any of that. We learned about the Beatles and Dave Clark 5. That's what we learned about. Go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Well, marching in the parade, there was a couple unofficial rules you had to go by. One, you had to keep in step. If you were out of step, you were told. So one thing you had to do was just keep in step. Another thing was watch the street ahead of you because we followed many a horse. So that's the last thing you wanted to do.
I see it now in the parade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those dancing horses. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to be behind those guys.
No. They used to have somebody called, what was it? They had a title for, sweeping up that stuff. Mr. Pickup or something like that. I would hear it, a microphone, Mr. Pickup.
Mr. Pooper Scooper, let's go.
Right. Yeah. As far as fainting, I've only witnessed one person faint.
Really?
Yeah, in the parade. I personally fainted once myself, Don, but this was in Grand Haven, Michigan. We were just standing at attention. It was probably 90 degrees outside, and I just went straight down, and my color guard sergeant caught me and just put me down
From
on
the heat?
Yeah, from the heat. I just went straight back, and fortunately, he was there. And I actually made the front page of the Grand Haven Tribune. There was my picture lying on the ground.
Really?
Yeah. I still got that someplace. But and when it was really hot, we'd be given sips of water by an adult leader, whatever. We had to listen to our drum majors though for commands as to what song to play next, or in our case. We would sometimes go into the Iwo Jima maneuver, which was a tremendous crowd pleaser. We would stop everything and then all of a sudden go into that maneuver.
Holding the flag.
Holding the flag and everything.
What instrument did you play?
Well, I played drums for about 3 years and then switched over to color guard.
How did they switch the music when they're marching? I mean, those are little tiny booklets of music they have, like the trumpet players.
Right.
They have
yeah.
little tiny booklets. How'd they switch the pages in there?
Well, no one ever had music. This was all done by
Oh, really?
by
Okay.
memory.
All right.
Yeah, sure, yeah. But that was really a lot of fun to be in the parade.
What were some of your songs?
Oh, geez, we had a song called Brazil, Sweet
yeah.
Georgia Brown.
Brazil, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, Bullfighter. We had a reunion march maybe about 15 years ago, and I said, "Well, sure, I can do it," And my gosh, Don, halfway through,
You fainted again.
No, I was ready to just call it quits, but I had my pride. I had to keep going.
Oh,
I had
my.
to teach these young kids a lesson that us old timers could still do it.
Well, the music, Jim, I mean, even you being part of it, but
Yeah.
here, sitting on the sidelines and waiting for the next band or waiting for the next drum and bugle corps.
Yep.
The music was incredible in the parade.
Sure.
Echoing coming from another block. Oh, they're coming, they're coming. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It still is. Yeah.
wonderful. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess it's time to turn to the floats.
Yep. Let's do that.
The music
Talk about
and
the floats. Yep.
Now, thinking back to 2 years ago when we were at the Rondell again in person, you and I had the privilege of getting a lot of black and white photos of the floats.
Yes, from
Especially
Gene Arnold. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then your son worked to colorize them. Mm-hmm. So I guess I keep saying, were we correct in that we had beautiful floats? Mm-hmm. Well, maybe not the Rose Bowl, but looking at those pictures, there was not a visible tire. Sometimes there would even be the driver of the vehicle hidden in the float. There must have been so much crepe paper, solid, beautiful. And another thing that we saw in the pictures, it sounds so minor, but fringe. Fringe was used on every float, completely around the bottom. You could not see one tire. And then, what was the structure that was built on the float? Maybe a very high throne for a beauty queen. Every year, the parade had a theme. They still do. So we'll talk about it in a minute or two, but maybe like a structure of a huge windmill, a real large windmill, all prepared. or maybe there was one, a showboat. The whole thing was like a huge Mississippi River flowboat. We were not exaggerating. Maybe not flowers like the Rose Bowl, but just as much crepe paper.
We had a float when we were lining up on Augusta Street. The float next to us was a replica. It was a huge float of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. When Matthew Broderick was on the float, he jumped on that float in Chicago, and they did the exact replica of it. And I'm looking at this thing saying, this was a lot of work. They had to, first of all, get a picture of the float from the movie and replicate it with all these kids on it from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Gee.
It was pouring on these kids when we were lining up, and they were soaking wet. They didn't care. But still, it was just amazing how they put this float together.
What a great effort and beautiful. Well, we talked about Mayor Spencer, and in 1937, wanting goodwill among our citizens instead of labor and union strife, especially business strife. So the Goodwill organization always had a major float. And usually it did feature Miss Goodwill. But it set the pace for these elegant 40-foot long, sometimes floats. Then companies came right into Mayor Spencer. Jim, there were 20 companies at least that took part?
Well, all the photos that we saw, I think we counted at least 20 different companies that had floats at one time. For example, Modine, they had a couple different floats that we saw photos of. One was this gorgeous lighthouse. Another one was, you mentioned it before, Carol, a windmill. Twin Disc, I think they had the most floats. They had a huge elephant that we saw, a large pink whale, and one of my favorites was an actual merry-go-round on that float. But like Carol said, we saw so many photos of these floats when we were doing the Rondell program. We were just blown away as to the beauty of those old floats.
And now I think it's time for me to say, I did go online and put on just like Racine floats 1950s. If you search enough, there are maybe half a dozen pictures that you can see. So I hope our listeners go back now on Google and eventually locate the site that will show, or a couple sites that will show you a few of the floats.
I never understand how the Iwo Jima float, guys. I don't know. I don't know how they do that.
No, it's amazing, isn't it?
You stand in that one position.
Yes.
I never see them move. I'm sure they have to move.
No.
And they got that heavy makeup on.
Now, Jim is going to talk about that, but you know, Racine County
Did I step out of order?
You
I'm sorry.
did. Racine County I just had a feature on a fellow. Yeah, don't do that again. A man named Joe Irvin, and they just did a feature. Racine County I, the newspaper, and he has been doing that and participating in that float for over 40 years, and now his sons are taking part. It's a great feature, so look it up on Racine County I. Joe Irvin. Western Printing, during one of those years, had an anniversary, and that float was exceptionally beautiful. It was their 50th anniversary, and so they had a lot in gold. Walker Manufacturing, they're the ones that did a whole showboat as a float. So now we've mentioned Modine, Twin Disc, Western, Walker, Bell City Malibu was always in, Hamilton Beach, Massey Harris. Jim.
Yeah. And, there were a few more, too. Webster Electric was another one. And most of these companies have moved on, but they all participated back then. There were a few more, right, Carol?
JIK's, Bell Telephone, the Journal Times.
Bell Telephone, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
There's a blast from the past.
Johnson, S.C. Johnson, Jacobson, who in one photo, they were sponsoring the Iwo Jima float. Dairies, Jim, even the dairies.
Oh, yeah, but you missed one.
Who did I miss?
The Journal Times /WRJN.
I think I just said that.
Did you say that?
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear that.
I didn't
you
either.
didn't?
My ears would have perked up at WRJN.
Goodness. I'm in my own world over here.
Yeah, we had the dairies participate. Progressive Dairy had a beautiful float as well as Marigold. And the third one, Carol?
Was Borden's, and
Yep.
I love that one. That I think is online too. Elsie the cow, who was big,
Yeah.
and Yellow Daisy. So this float was all yellow and white, pulled by a yellow and white Ford Fairlane.
We're in the home stretch with Carol Gianforte and Jim Mercier. We're talking about the history of the 4th of July parade on WRJM this morning. Let's go where we left off. We were talking about the floats.
Yes. Another a float came from, actually a few of them, from the various business areas. Elmwood Plaza had their own float. I remember we saw a picture of a butterfly float. It was just, was it one big butterfly, Carol, or a bunch of smaller ones?
I think there were
I
a
don't
bunch
know.
of butterflies.
Yeah, okay. Uptown had a float. That was a ton of red hearts.
West
Right.
Racine,
Yep.
for Western days, a covered wagon. And downtown always had floats. One year, excuse me, they actually had, though, I don't know, live elephants because they were going to sponsor a circus day in the future. But these beautiful floats, lo and behold, starting in 1936, a man named Charles Arnold, with his family, started doing the floats for the companies and organizations, mainly the companies, in their garage. Eventually, they moved to a location on State Street near the bridge. But Charles Arnold and his family, he did the floats until 1976 when he did retire. So the fringe, the crepe paper, the designs, we owe an awful lot to the history of Charles Arnold and his family.
Yep. And we still have those two emotional, stunning floats that Don mentioned.
And he started the Iwo Jima float.
Oh, is that
Charles
right?
Arnold, yeah.
Okay. Iwo Jima and the Spirit of 76, or Boys of 76 floats. They are great crowd pleasers. Everybody just stands up and claps when they go by. Of course, the World War II Iwo Jima float, that commemorates our victory in Iwo Jima. And we can see the Marines, raising the American flag. Likewise, with the Boys of 76 or the Spirit of 76, that's a two-sided float honoring our Revolutionary War heroes.
And this
Great
is
floats.
true about the bronze paint, but not moving. And how do they stay
know,
so
yeah.
still and in difficult poses? My back would be killing me.
I don't know how they're doing.
No.
For like how many miles, how many
Yeah.
hours?
Yeah.
Right. It brings tears
There
to
must
people's
be
eyes.
there must be a part where they change position. It's got to be.
It
I
has
just
to
don't
be.
know where it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've never seen them go at ease, but they must.
They would have to.
Oh, there! Look at you, military term, at ease,
I'm up on these things.
Sergeant Carroll, at ease.
Yeah, right.
Now, the calliope, when we were, again, back to the Rondell presentation and learning so much 2 years ago, the calliope actually, along with the World War floats, has been with the parade about since the beginning. And it pulls the parade together at the end, the unusual music. But we found out that the committees that keep good notes, that have had the parade history and ran it through all the years, they have a special feeling for the calliope. And at one time it was in disrepair, we learned. And it was brought back to life at probably great effort, maybe great expense, and is stored very carefully so that we still have the calliope as an item from the past.
I mean, the calliope.
The
That calliope.
Yeah, it's a layman's
That
term
thing.
for it.
Yes, yes.
Didn't we have that at our Rondell program, the calliope? We
Oh,
tried
yes,
to get it.
I think we did
Was
have it
there?
outside under the...
Yeah, we did.
Yes, we had it there.
Sure, that's right.
underneath the portico there.
Yep, that's right.
And then we can't forget, once the parade was over, the music, the floats, we did have afternoon picnics. Lately, I was thinking about North Beach and rolling down the hill. Kids would picnic, and we'd roll down that big hill. And we still had the carnival, and we had the fireworks at night. So it
Yes.
was a marvelous experience
And
for us to
originally,
remember.
the carnival with the rides and the fireworks, that was held at Washington Park before they moved the fireworks to the lakefront, as well as the carnival. But and now, let's give a little preview about next month.
Yes, Jim.
Yeah,
Take
perfect
it away, Jim.
weather. Well, we are going to do going to the beach. What do we call that? Sunning and
Well, that's going to be in our in-person program
Oh,
that's
at the
coming
church.
later in August.
Right.
We already
Yeah.
got a title for
Okay, so
August.
August 25th,
Is in person
7
now.
p.m.
Yes.
Which church again?
Living Faith on
Wright?
Wright Avenue.
Avenue.
Right, okay.
Free, open to the public.
And you are going to, what's the topic? The beach?
It's
beach
no,
and-
no. This is it's
okay.
well, it's
Well-
going to be called Swimming and Sunning.
Swimming and sunning.
Meaning,
Okay.
we already at the Rondell, back to the Rondell, 2 years ago had included Washington Park Pool, and you and Terry
We did
went
it
to
here,
that
too.
site,
Yeah.
and we did it on the radio.
Yeah.
But
I was so sad going back to these places. Even Kittyland. It was so sad going back.
So, due to Jim's family contact, we now have the pictures that were filling all the time with the Washington Park Pool. They are animated. Would you call it animated? They
Yeah.
move due
Because
to
of AI. Yeah.
So the pictures that we did show that were colorized
A still shot.
now
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
So we
right.
can see people jumping off this island. We can see people on the sand moving. So we feel that it was worth bringing it back. But then that's the swimming. Then we've got the sunning. We lived at the beach, especially junior high and then high school after work. So the beaches we're going to that's our in person swimming and sunning. The pool and the beaches.
And what about here next month?
That's going to be just the beach, going
No.
to the beach.
Yep.
Can't do
Oh.
sunning?